Hi, Earthfolk! I'm Melton on my mission to discover everything great from Sega. If you'd like to join me, hit that subscribe and bell icon. The last decade was an amazing time to be a gamer with many awesome games from loads of different games developers. I count down my top 10 games of the decade, and while some are guaranteed to be Sega games, you might be surprised at what makes the list. We'll get right into the countdown, but first I'll start by saying there's been some excellent games that I've played, just not enough to say they make my top 10 games of the decade. That means Zelda, Forza and Yakuza, love them, but they don't make the list. Watch as I count down the games of the last decade that meant the most to me as a gamer. Kicking it off at number 10 is the phenomenal Sonic Mania, released in 2017. What made this game a special game was because it was Sonic's first proper return to form, especially after the Sonic 4 letdown. Levels were bigger, better, and with a perfect mix of nostalgia and new levels. Sonic Mania is almost the perfect game, with only a few niggles that mean I don't rate it as the best 2D Sonic game ever. 2017 was a special year for Sega and Sonic fans with the release of this gem. If you've not played Sonic Mania, strap on your power sneakers and jump into this game. Spend most of your time hiding and fearing for your life in Alien Isolation, my 9th best game of the decade. This game was such a surprise, being a huge Alien film fan, shout out to all the Aliens fans, and being released by Sega in 2014, Alien Isolation was a nerve-wracking experience, and I don't advise you to play, unless you want to be scared. As a survival horror game, you don't try to kill the alien, you try to avoid it at all costs, and this thing is very intelligent for an AI enemy. Creeping along corridors, never knowing what might be around the next corner or behind the door. A great game, which I hope gets a sequel. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, came out in 2011 in Japan and follows the story of Oliver as he tries to save his mother. An excellently crafted Japanese role-playing game with animation from the renowned Japanese animation studio, Studio Ghibli, the creators of the movie Spirited Away. You, as Oliver, with your sidekick Drippy, step out of the front door on a massive adventure which will take you to another world. Similar to Pokemon, you can collect animals and fight them, all while playing a literally work of art game. Excellent stuff. The sequel is also great, but I prefer this one a bit more. A very un-Sega game for me, Grand Theft Auto 5 probably doesn't need any introduction. I'm pretty sure most of you will have played it, or at least heard just how great it is. Coming out in 2013, a great year for gaming. I think this was my first proper open world game where you could pretty much do what you wanted when you wanted. It also had an excellent story. I feel it's slightly let down by the online, as you'll sometimes find players exploiting the game or going on killing rampages, which isn't much fun for a non-pro gamer like myself. Apart from that, a very, very, very good game. So what's your favourite games of the last decade? Let me know in the comments below. At number 6 is two games. Little Big Planet 2 released in 2011 and its bigger but less good brother, Little Big Planet 3, coming out 3 years later. Little Big Planet 2 was great, so much fun creating your sack person and creating levels. Check the description below for a link on my best levels created by me. Now, Little Big Planet 3 was not as good, as the online was incredibly unstable and I don't think it's even now completely fixed. But being the latest game in the series and being able to play the previous game's user created levels, it still became the best way to play LBP online.
Hood, the crazy crone who lives here, I suspect to be the prophetic liberator.
Who the hell are you? Sparta. My dad.
Into my top 5 games of the last decade, I was totally blown away by the quality of this game, DMC Devil May Cry. While many didn't like this reboot in the series, I hadn't really played the previous games in the series before this, and I've not yet played enough of Devil May Cry 5 to say it's better. I just love this game from start to finish. The atmosphere and the music is excellent. Absolutely worth checking out and experiencing for yourself. Just put on headphones and enjoy. At number 4 is the phenomenal Journey. Released on PlayStation Network in 2012, you undertake a journey. This is one game that I don't want to spoil for you one bit, but let me tell you, for an initially download only game, this was a system seller. You take your character and you explore, and while there is no clear instructions on where to go, you just seem to find out how to progress naturally. It's very intuitive. With a surprisingly minimal but emotive story and beautiful music, this game is perfection. I can't fault it at all. And into my top 3 games of the decade. Minecraft, released in 2011, another game that probably doesn't need an introduction. You start off with nearly nothing and you play your adventure as you want, exploring your surroundings and going underground. There's so much to see and do in this procedurally generated landscape. Want to build a castle? Of course. Want to be a farmer and have a herd of sheep? Go ahead. Want to enter the depths of the nether and fight massive monsters? You are sorted. I've sunk many hours into this game, which can also be played online with friends. That's the best way to play for sure, as long as you trust your friends not to destroy your home you spent days and a lot of effort making while you're away out hunting skellies. That's happened before. In at number 2 is the awesome Earth Defense Force 4.1. While 4.1 Shadow of the New Despair is my favourite in the series so far and came out in 2016, it's basically a remaster of Earth Defense Force 2025, which came out 3 years previous. Now, before you all go, what's up with Melton? Putting this weird game with dodgy graphics, have you seen the frame rate, as the second best game of the entire decade? Just hold up.
While they spread across an entire planet. Maybe the Ravagers didn't need to hurry, so they chose to take a break in order to get ready for their return.
It's gameplay that counts, and this has it in shovel loads. You fight massive monsters and literally tens of thousands of them you will rack up. You choose your character, which there are 4 to choose from, level up your weapons, which there are more than you can count, and you destroy everything in more missions than you need. It's also an online game. It's epic. It's maybe not for everyone, but there's nothing better than killing massive bugs and bots in the effort to rid the world of an alien invasion. And now, with the top spot remaining, here's some honourable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but each one of these games was something very awesome.
Amy really took a battering there.
Hey, where'd you go? Snap out of it! Were you even listening?
Sure.
4:15. Yeah, that's it, 4:15. I remember exactly because I looked at the clock in the park when we arrived.
What was your son wearing when he disappeared?
He was wearing a coat.
Where did you get the money for this?
Drugs. I sell hardcore drugs.
Oh, good. You started helping out with the mortgage then.
Yeah, you wish.
At number 1, The Last of Us. A simply amazing gaming experience that I put down as not only the best game of the decade, but also as almost certainly the best made game ever. You play as Joel after the game's first section, which you are watching here. Don't worry, there's no spoilers, as this game is something you need to play yourself. People have been infected by a pathogen which turns them into the infected or zombies. You have to survive and progress through an emotional and perfectly written story. I don't rate any other modern game as high as this.
Those people. We're on fire.
Don't look, Sarah.
What do you think of my top games of the decade list? Does The Last of Us deserve the top spot? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments what you think and what your top games are. And why not check out one of these videos on my channel? If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like to join me on my mission to discover everything great from Sega, hit that subscribe and bell icon. I'm Melton, and I'll see you next video.